Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us for today's episode of Canal Days. As always, I'm your host Carrie, along with my co-host, founder of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, Robert Camus. Our Canal Days series delves into the vast collection of historical sites throughout Massachusetts, with Robert's expertise of the local history as our personal guide. Each episode, we uncover history throughout local communities with historic houses, meaningful monuments, prominent pivotal pioneers, and remarkable remaining remnants, all while delving into their seminal significance. Today's episode of Canal Days will be traversing the Tannery Reservoir, located in Holyoke, Massachusetts. So, can you clarify where exactly in Holyoke can one find the Tannery Reservoir?
It's found at the northwest juncture of Westfield Road and Homestead Avenue. When it was made, it was a very lightly used road juncture, but with the passage of time, it became heavily used. So we'll talk about its history, its components, and why they even made it. But back in 1882, it was a great place because it was all farmland out there. So why not put a dam in? And they did just that. Now, the name comes from the Tannery Brook. There must have been, in the island parish days of Holyoke, a tannery around the area. And from there, they named the brook. Now, the brook has a tributary flowing into it called Riley Brook. And in fact, both the Tannery and the Riley Brook at one time, about 200 years ago, was called the Riley Brook. But then it changed names and it had two components under those two different names.
And can you reveal the history of the reservoir?
So about the year 1882, the Holyoke Water Department Company decided that they needed another reservoir. They had the Ashley and Wright reservoirs going by the year 1873, and they both had gatehouses and dams there, and an enormous pipeline was going from the edge of Wright's Pond through Rock Cut all the way to the top of Hitchcock Street. But still, it wasn't enough because Holyoke was growing, and also not only a lot of people, but a lot of mills. And those mills need a lot of water because paper and fiber needs a lot of water. And so they decided to get another component of their reservoir system going, and they started up the Tannery Dam, which backed up the Tannery Reservoir. In 1883, it was completed, had a gatehouse, dam, spillway. It backed up the water for about a quarter mile. And it's still visible, this reservoir. If you go out and go to the pump station here, you'll see the reservoir behind it. So it's still a viable location. Now, they did make it higher at one point. They put a gatehouse in the 1880s. And it all lasted very well until the 1930s when they had so much water around other reservoirs around Holyoke that they thought they really didn't need this one. And besides that, there's starting to be a lot more homes being put in to the farmland that used to be around this section. And so they were questioning the quality of the water. By the very early 1940s, they discontinued it completely, took out the gatehouse and the spillway, and left the dam behind, but it needed a culvert, so they put that in. And then in the 1950s, they almost abandoned it completely, except those security measures. And in the 1990s, they put in a new pump station at that location called the West Heights Pump Station, which would pump the water up to Jarvis, Cherry Street, and the upper parts of East Hampton Road.
And stick around because we'll be right back after these few words from our sponsor. Are you fascinated by local history and eager to investigate the obscure treasures off the beaten path throughout the state of Massachusetts? Or maybe just seeking an unforgettable cultural activity for family and friends to enjoy? Look no further than Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, founded by Robert Camus. With over a decade of experience, Robert offers captivating tours and presentations of historic sites and landmarks throughout the state. Whether you're interested in canals, cemeteries, charming churches, and more, Robert's tours provide a unique and enriching experience for all. And that's not it. You can also schedule private tours tailored to your interests, ensuring a personalized adventure and unforgettable memories. Perfect for families or groups of all sizes, making for an exciting hands-on learning experience that brings history to life. Simply visit holyokecanaltour.org or email bobcat4214, @yahoo.com to book your private tour today. But wait, there's more. Don't miss out on Robert's podcast and video series, Canal Days, where you can dive even deeper into the vital history of the Connecticut River Valley. Plus, for those who may not be local or would rather enjoy on the go or from the comfort of their home, Canal Days brings the adventure right to your screen. So don't miss out. Uncover the pivotal past with the historical tours of Greater Holyoke to make your own history with memories that will last a lifetime. Remember to log on to holyokecanaltour.org for more information and secure your personalized experience today. Welcome back to our Canal Days episode of the Tannery Reservoir. And can you describe what has become of the reservoir, what it is like nowadays?
All right, it's still there if you go there when there's not much brush or foliage around. You can actually see deep into the woods that's still around. It doesn't have a dedicated path around it, such as Ashley Wright or White Street Reservoir would have. People don't walk around it, but you can still see the form of it. That and once you see, you say this must be a reservoir. Has a earthen dam on one side, a culvert, and a long, narrow shape to it. So a reservoir of Holyoke. So I told you that it's now become a pump station area, and that's very important. If you look at the elevation changes of Holyoke, the lie of the land, a pipe coming down from the Ashley Reservoir, McLean Reservoir area, now carrying water from the Ty-Carmody also, comes downhill from Ashley, and after only a quarter mile, it's starting to get into a dip, and it goes uphill towards Homestead, and definitely uphill towards Jarvis, Cherry, and East Hampton Road. And so those houses will need a boost of water because the water is not going to flow any higher than at the point at which it starts its height. And so it already needs to kick up, and it gets it in the West Height pump station. This is one of at least 5 pump stations I know of around Holyoke, and it's a very important one because it covers all of Holyoke Community College, so all the water they need, all the water the soldier homes need, and then there's several businesses on the upper reaches of East Hampton Road that needs this water. So it's a very important pump station. Now, if you go onto the side of the pump station, that's where you can see the remnants of the reservoir.
And do you know or do you have an opinion on what is in store for the Tannery Reservoir in the future?
Well, I did notice that nowadays they have several places where rocks bound together with heavy fence wire have been put in place to stabilize the surface of the earth. I would guess at some point that this dam will need to be replaced, or they'll put a big spillway in to encourage more water to leave the area. It's a very busy intersection, so any work there is going to be very difficult. You're going to have to stop up the area, and it's going to be difficult. It might take at least a month or two of very heavy work in that area, and you don't really want to close down the traffic. But I would guess a big culvert is going to have to be put in place, and the soil underneath the road is going to have to be solidified into place. But in my mind, I also keep in mind the history of Holyoke. I wish that there were signs down there explaining that this is the tannery, why it was put in, and that Tannery Brook is behind it. I wish they put a little path so people could walk up the side of it and see its history, and around the other side the same thing. And that would be wonderful because the reservoir system of Holyoke is spectacular, and I wish people know more about its history.
And thanks for listening to Canal Days and our episode on the Tannery Reservoir, and for joining us on our journey through the rich history of the Connecticut River Valley. We hope you enjoyed uncovering some of the hidden and overlooked marvels and their fascinating stories that shaped our past in the state of Massachusetts. A special thanks to Robert Camus, founder of the Historical Tours of Greater Holyoke, for sharing his passion and expertise with us. Remember, you can find more information about Robert's tours, book private tours, and explore the Canal Days video and podcast series at holyokecanaltour.org. If you enjoyed today's episode, please like, comment, and share. We'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions for future episodes. Don't forget to keep exploring and discovering the history that is hidden in plain sight all around us. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune into our next episode of Canal Days and check out holyokecanaltour.org.